All right, happy Thursday night, everybody. Welcome on into the daily broadcast. Glad you are with us right here in the Raiderland worldwide headquarters. Hope your day has been good. It's been a tough week. Not gonna lie, it's been a tough week for us kids of the '80s, '70s, '80s, with the passing of Malcolm Jamal Warner. Then we had Ozzy Osbourne, and now today, Hulk Hogan, the Hulkster. There we go. Not been an easy week for us. We're going to talk about that tonight. Your favorite sports heroes, your favorite celebrity icons of the 1980s. Let's just throw it back to the decade of the 80s. If you were young or old or whatever, we're going to talk about the 80s tonight. Overrated, underrated, rated right. Every Thursday, we rate things around here. Today, we're talking about college football programs. Big Ten media days going on. We had the SEC last week. The Big 12 got it started. I don't think the ACC is going to do one. I think the ACC just said, we really don't want anyone to know we're here. So we're going to go with it with college football programs, the ones that are too overrated, the ones that are underrated, and the ones that are rated just right. Which ones and why? Which category does Tech fit in? Which category do some of the Big 12 teams fit in? Some of the teams that get talked about all the time. You tell me. Thanks to United Supermarkets and Market Street, the United Supermarkets chat line open for everybody, whether you're on Twitter X at Ryan Hyatt Media, whether you're on our YouTube channel, and if you are, we hope you hit share and like and grow the channel. Or you could be on our Facebook page, watching live on Facebook for Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland. We're glad you're with us. Everybody on there, just share, hit like, and go from there. All right, let's get this thing going in 3, in 2. Good evening, West Texans, all you good, fine, friendly folks out there who wish you were. I'm Ryan Hyatt, TheRaiderland.com, the website. You start your day every day. They're checking out the Raiderland Hot Links question of the day and everything we got going on. Tomorrow, you're going to get there early, right? So you can tell us the most Texan thing you have done this week. Brought to you by The Reserve, a culinary tavern. Great Lubbock eatery, 103rd and Quaker. You know about their tremendous brunch on Saturday and Sunday. Their regular, evening service, their meals, fantastic. Don't sleep on their pizzas either. Some of the best pizzas in town right there. I mean, if you just, you don't want to get the stroganoff or the homemade meatballs or just, whatever, throw out whatever menu. Just get a pizza. You'll be happy you did if you've never gone. Great drinks, awesome atmosphere there at the Reserve, a culinary tavern, 103rd and Quaker. Also brought to you by Sideline Provisions. You've seen the hats with the OG Guns Up symbol on it, Tejas Tech, all that cool stuff. You can find it at Q4 in Lubbock. That's the old Cardinal Sports Center. You can go to their website and go to Red Raider Apparel or Raider Apparel drop down, and you'll see Sideline Provisions. Look good, feel good, look as good as the team or better. Some days, you never know. Thanks to some great Red Raiders who put Sideline Provisions together. They looked around one day and said, man, we don't have stuff that we want to wear. We don't have stuff that's cool. We don't have anything that we want to wear around town every single day. So they just made it and created Sideline Provisions. All right, we'll get your questions and comments. Thanks to United Supermarkets. Overrated, underrated, rated right. College football programs. Which are the programs that you think get way too much press, pubbed up? Right now, this could be real time or all time. Real time or all time. It could be this year. Who's overrated, who's underrated, who's rated right. Up to you. You create that. And then rest in peace, Hulk Hogan, 71 years old today, apparent cardiac arrest. So we're going to celebrate the 80s tonight. Your favorite 80s sports heroes, your favorite 80s celebrity icons, movie stars, you name anything about the 80s. Because we lost Theo, we lost Ozzy, and now we lost Hulk Hogan. So we'll get it started with you guys tonight. You guys chime in, chip in, get your questions, comments in, and then everybody who's watching, share on whatever platform you're watching. Lonnie going to get in first. He jumps in off Twitter X at Ryan Hyatt Media. If somehow you're not following us on Twitter X, Chuck Mangione, the face of Megalomart, as well. They're on King of the Hill. I think old Chuck Mangione too. He was more of a '70s guy. Had the trumpet, all the cool stuff. The 70s, coming out of the 60s, the 70s, you still had guys, Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass, Chuck Mangione. He was it the he did like music for one of the Olympics. Maybe it was the '84 Olympics or something. One with John Williams. Losing track on that. But yeah, 84 years old, Chuck Mangione. Might have had one of his albums in the '70s. Hard to say, impossible to say, but it's entirely possible and probable that during that time frame, if I didn't buy it, like the family had it, it was in the stacks over there, like I said, by Herb Alpert, Tijuana Brass, stuff like that. All right. Overrated, underrated college football programs. Do you think Texas Tech is an overrated or underrated or rated right program? Why or why not? University of Texas. Overrated, underrated? I mean, they do have 2 championships since integration of college sports, which goes back 55, 56 years. A&M, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, Ohio State, Alabama. I think the overrated ones, I don't know. The underrated ones, I think, are really kind of interesting. The ones that you sit there and go, it's underrated. And why would it be underrated? They don't have maybe all the money. They don't have maybe all the prestige. What would be some underrated college football programs? And again, we can go all time or we can go right now. If you just want to go right now, Colorado, overrated or underrated? Or rated right? You tell me. Lonnie, as a trumpet player in the 80s, Chuck was a treasure for me. We now know that Lonnie blew a trumpet. Chris, overrated. Oregon. Under, not sure. Rated right, Texas Tech. All right. Then he comes back immediately thereafter, after like 37 seconds of thought, says Kansas State underrated. All right, let's go back. Oregon overrated. Oregon has had, since going back to the early 2000s, almost every financial advantage you can have playing in a not that hard to win league and win big. Talking about you, Pac-10, Pac-12, Pac-14, Pac-16. You could say I just drove right up to the factory and picked it up. It's cheaper that way. And yet, what has Oregon done with it? What has Oregon really done with it? They rolled into Lubbock a couple of years ago and can barely beat a Texas Tech team that was moderately average. I'm old enough to remember, by the way, in the early 90s when Oregon had the longest losing streak in college football. Texas Tech went out there and helped them break it. God, that was a horrible loss. And then we go Kansas State underrated. Overrated, underrated, rated right. Today we're talking college football programs all time or right now. And then in celebration of the Hulkster tonight, your 80s icons, your favorite 80s sports heroes. Who are your favorite athletes in the 80s? Who are your favorite movie stars? Who are your favorite wrestlers? Who are your favorite anything? The icons of the 80s. It has been a tough week for us kids of the 80s. Kansas State underrated. I would still say Kansas State probably underrated. After all the success they had starting with Bill Snyder in the early 90s after getting hired, the first thing he does is says, we may not play like the Dallas Cowboys, but we're going to take purple and silver, and we're going to look like the Dallas freaking Cowboys. And they did. And then they got a middle linebacker named Kirby Hocutt out of Sherman, Texas, set them on the path to righteousness. I would still say that Kansas State's probably underrated for what they do. And now, I mean, we're into 90s, the aughts, the teens. We're going in now to 4 decades of Kansas State football being damn relevant. Painful, maybe for some Texas Tech fans to hear. I'm willing to go down the road and say they're underrated. You get to type it away on that little chat line there, brought to you by United Supermarkets at Market Street. Tell us your thoughts. It was also Oregon's fault, says Chris, that there are garish uniforms. They helped. They probably got started. The whole idea that every week you can wear a new football costume. Hulk Hogan and the Macho Man, Randy said. The Mega Powers. Talking about 80s icons. If y'all will stay around to the end of the program tonight, I'll let you in on a little secret that many people have asked that has never been revealed, at least in real time for the most part. And I may answer a question tonight, at least for tonight, if you hang around. Get your questions, comments coming in, whether you're on Twitter X at Ryan Hyatt Media, our Facebook page, and then YouTube, Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland. Michael's there on YouTube. I'm sure he said thumbs up and shared it. Favorite actor in the 80s was Christopher Lloyd in my favorite movie of all time, Back to the Future. All right, so, and this is a critical question. Overrated, underrated, rated right. 3 Back to the Future movies. Which one was overrated, which one was underrated, which one was rated right? I'll answer the question. All right. Rated right, the first one. Overrated, the second one. And then underrated, the finale. That's how I'd rank those. Macho Man, better than Hulk Hogan. Seriously? Seriously? Hulk Hogan made him. J.R. Ewing, who shot J.R. if you were, what year was that? 82, 83, right in through there? I can't Google it. I mean, I could, but I'd have to hit some stuff, and I don't want to jack up any. What year was that? 82, 83? Nothing took over America. Who shot JR? You had the shirts. Who shot JR? Everything. Larry Hagman and J.R. Ewing, icon, 1980s. JC's on that 80s deal. The Brat Pack movies and many others, MTV. Canes football rated right. Pairing two topics there. Hurricanes football in the 80s under Howard Schnellenberger. I actually liked them. I did. I rooted for him. I like Bernie Kosar. I like the Canes taking on Penn State. I was rooting for the Canes over Penn State. Liked it. Admitted. The Brat Pack, I used to be able to reel them all off. Now I don't think I could do it. Anyways, obviously you've got the Breakfast Club group, St. Elmo's Fire, all of the John Hughes. By the way, today, happy birthday, Molly Ringwald. Molly Ringwald, 57 years old and looking great today. Way to go, Molly. I was never like, if there'd been like Team Molly Ringwald versus Team Ali Sheedy versus Team, what is it, Mara Whittingham? What was her name? Some Kind of Wonderful. The Blonde and Some Kind of Wonderful. Somebody Googled that up. The Blonde and Some Kind of Wonderful. Would have been on that one. The Brat Pack, though, would we put Broderick in that? He's in War Games. Chris is 1980. I assume that's going back to the Who Shot JR. Was it 80? Golly, was it really 80? I would have lost that. I would have said it would have been a couple of years after that. Kirsten Dunst, no, she was like in the 90s, late 90s. I mean, she wasn't even born in the 80s, I don't think. I agree with you. Back to the Future ranking. Yeah. First one's great. The second one was like the movie we've got to make to get to the third movie. It's sort of like, Harrison Ford, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Oh, we got to make this middle one to get to the last one. Yeah. Mary Stuart Masterson, thank you. Put her top of the, Some Kind of Wonderful, I think is the movie. She's the drummer. Always go with the blondes, by the way. Stacy, I didn't need to know how old Molly Ringwald is today. Damn, I'm an old fart. We're not old. We're not old. We're aging well, man. That's why we're celebrating the 80s today. We're celebrating Malcolm Jamal Warner and the Gordon Gartrell shirt that we all wanted. We all would have had. Ozzy. If you're a kid of the 70s, he's Black Sabbath Ozzy. If you're a kid of the 80s, he's more singularly Ozzy, kind of out on his own type Ozzy. And then after that, he's just Ozzy. And well, really after that, we get into the the Osbournes TV show in the 2000s and everything else. And as Ozzy Osbourne once said, and today we lose Hulk Hogan. Your favorite sports heroes of the 80s. Your favorite Dallas Cowboy of the 80s. Your favorite Houston Oilers of the 80s. Baseball players of the 80s. Today is the anniversary of the George Brett Pine Tar incident at New York against the Yankees. I still remember it vividly, seeing the highlights and everything. I don't know why they stopped Brett from killing McClellan. I think it would have been a good day in American sports if George Brett had been allowed to gouge his eyes out with his fingernails and then absolutely, in the words of Colonel Nathan Jessup, skull blank him. I think it would have been a good day for America. And then it's overrated, underrated, rated right Thursday. We multitask here in Raiderland, particularly this time of year. Overrated college football programs, underrated college football programs, rated right college football programs. How many of you believe that Texas Tech football is overrated? I mean, it's underrated. I mean, it's rated right. I lean, by the way, towards rated right. I've never felt like, for the most part, that Tech's been underrated. Texas Tech has really never given the nation a reason to consider them overrated. I feel like Tech's probably rated right in the minds of most people. And then we've got, us folks here on the Llano Estacado and in West Texas, and then the great unwashed, the people that wish they were West Texas, and how they view it. James jumps in on Facebook. Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland on Facebook. I've seen both Aussies. What about the third Aussie? Huh? Favorite Dallas Cowboy of the 80s, the name I should not say. You cannot say number 11. How could he possibly be, out of all the players in the 80s, your favorite Cowboy? Because Drew Pearson's still there. Doug Cosby is a Cowboy, right? Randy White is still a Cowboy in the 80s. You cannot say number 11. It's impossible. Cannot be possible. Herschel Walker. Give me Herschel Walker. In 1986, was it 86, I think, or 87? Which year was it? He had like a hell of a year. I mean, he had like one of the great running back years, all-purpose yardage years all time in the NFL, and nobody ever seems to give Herschel Walker credit for that in a Cowboy uniform. Center for the Cowboys, Tom Rafferty. Jan jumps in on Facebook. Heck, I was old in the 80s. No, you weren't. Was Don Meredith Dandy Don in the 80s? No. He was in the 60s. Not even the 70s. Tech is rated right till they prove better or worse. I agree. Money will talk. Which money and who are we talking to? But I agree with that. Money will always talk. Yet to be seen on how they're rated. No, we're asking tonight, right now. People's view. We're asking your views on college football programs, overrated, underrated, rated right, all time or otherwise. Which programs do you think get way too much credit for what they do? Michigan is over freaking rated. It's not 1935 or 1940. Gerald Ford ain't playing center there in a leather helmet. Michigan football is way overrated, but they just, had a great year a couple years ago. No, all time Michigan football overrated. Michigan and to a lesser extent Ohio State feed off each other's relevancy. Texas is the most overrated program in all of college football, all time. Seriously. Since integration, since they allowed black people to play college football around these parts, they have all of one championship. The one before that was 1969, and some of the folks down on the 40 acres are more than too happy to point out. And look, that's the last all-white national championship football team. I ain't making that. It's true. So literally, since they allowed black people to play, the University of Texas, with all of their largesse, has a title. UT always overrated. Chris, the Big Ten is a conference overrated. The Big Ten bottom feeder. The Big Ten is so bad at the bottom. I mean, compared to the SEC, the Big Ten at the bottom is so bad. They'll have 3 or 4 teams up at the top that are good football teams, really good football teams. And I know we're bouncing up and down the scale here on overrated, rated, right, underrated college football programs in the here and now and then the all time. Bring your comments, bring your thoughts. Thanks to United Supermarkets at Market Street, the store that puts their name on things at Texas Tech versus the grocery store around these parts that is happy to take your money and sends it down south and puts it on scoreboards somewhere else. And then we're celebrating the 80s after a tough week for us kids of the 80s. Today, the news of Hulk Hogan passing away. By the way, stay to the end of the show. People ask a certain question all the time, and I don't ever answer it, really. Or I tell you I'm not going to answer it. I'm going to answer one of those questions tonight. Hulk Hogan. I grew up on wrestling in the 70s in Amarillo, and then coming to Lubbock in the 80s. Pro wrestling was bigger in Amarillo than Lubbock. And I grew up on the Funk Brothers, that era of wrestling, all that great West Texas state lineage of, hey, we're done playing college football, let's go be great wrestlers. So even as it popularized into the 80s nationally, I was still kind of I'm like a 15-year-old kid and I'm a throwback. Yeah, he's no Dirty Dick Murdoch, I mean, Terry Funk, I think of in the 70s, not even in the 80s. But Hulk Hogan, he transcended all of that, turned it into a new deal. So we're asking tonight, your 80s icons, your favorite 80s athletes. My all-time favorite 80s athlete, baseball, Ryne Sandberg, Chicago Cubs. There you go. If I go baseball. Basketball, 80s, Bird and Magic equal. How can you say that? Real easy. What about Michael Jordan? Sorry, I was a Bird and I was a Magic Johnson fan, and I still say Magic Johnson ahead of Michael Jordan. You mean like all time or something? Yeah. And I still say Dr. J, if he'd been born 10 years later, you'd be wearing Air Doctors instead of Air Jordans. That's just me. Football, 80s, tough time. Cowboys are waning. The drop down in the 80s. Still loved a lot of the defenders on the Cowboys. Tony Dorsett, early 80s. Early 80s Cowboys is kind of where you got to go for that, right? Got to go early 80s Cowboys if you're a guy like me. So you can still go Tony Dorsett, Drew Pearson. Works, right? You can do that. All right, got to go back and pick up a couple of comments here. Danny, I'll take Amanda Peterson from Can't Buy Me Love, or Helen Hunt from Project X, over Ringwalder, Ali Sheedy. We're talking the 80s, not 90s, not 90s. Amanda Peterson, I believe that was in the 90s, was it not? Or wait, hold on, Can't Buy Me Love might have been 1988. I'll give you Amanda Peterson if that is the case. And then Helen Hunt, Boy, Ali Sheedy over Hunt. Stacy, I remember the Iron Shake. The Russian that Hogan always wrestled. Somebody else help me out on this. I know who you're talking about. I'm not going to get the name. Was it Vlad? No. I'm thinking like Vladimir Putin, but no, it's like Vlad something or something like that. Somebody help us out on 80s, late 80s WWF. What's the Russian wrestler's name? USC has been overrated for years. Pro wrestling was a thing in Fort Worth. Huge in the Metroplex. Sportatorium back in the day. And then what was the other one? There was another place that they wrestled at. Sportatorium, and somebody help me out. I didn't grow up there. Love the picture they called the Bird. Fidrich, you're thinking of Mark Fidrich in 1976. Love Larry Bird and all the Celtics. Greatest transition, by the way, was the Celtics, not Showtime and the Lakers. Celtics had the best basketball, drops through, outlet, go up the floor. 100%. All right, now I got to go back up a little bit. Come on. Marcus, not so smart. I think that was before the 80s. Magic could play all 5 positions. Yes, he did. In fact, in the finals in 81, he played post when Kareem was hurt. Jordan Moore of the 90s, I agree, he elevates in the late 80s, but he's got to get through the Pistons. Pistons winning in 88, 89. And then the Lakers win in 90. Oh, hold on. Yeah. Did the Lakers come back and win? No. They don't win in 90. When was the Bulls' first one? 90, 91, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95. He's Jordan's in jail for gambling, and then comes back. All right, there you go. Manster, Randy White, University of Maryland. Slam dunk contest in the 80s was for real. Hell, you got Spud Webb in the slam dunk contest in 86, whatever year it was. I can't remember which year that he's in it. Yeah, slam dunk contest in the 80s was sick, ridiculous. Heck, Cedric Sabalos, I believe, in 89 wears a blindfold. James, speaking of the 80s, played football 82, 83 for my dad. Oh, man, hold on. Elizondo brothers, Felipe and just blanked out on Felipe's brother's name. Felipe Elizondo, Brian Brock, Mike Meeks, Bruce Perkins. I know your team. I was just a couple of years after you, but I know your team. Yeah, so that would have been about 80, 79, 80, right in through there. Got a Mustang in the house. There you go, James. Oh hell, I used to know not all those guys' names, but the 1981 Coronado team and the 1983 Coronado team would have made the playoffs today. That was back when only one team made it. And I'm trying to remember which year it was. Hereford. And then one of them was Monterey with Norris Blunt and that group. I'm trying to remember it, 81 and 83. Anyways, I think it was the 81 team that's probably the better one. That had it made the playoffs, might have gone on to the regional finals or regional semifinals. Yeah, it would have been something. But you lose one game, that's the way it is. I think it was Hereford. I'll have to ask Mike Meach. Ivan Collins, is that our wrestler? Is that our 80s Russian wrestler? I don't remember that one at all. Can't Buy Me Love was 87. You are correct. Set in Tucson. Great movie. McDreamy before he was McDreamy. And Amanda Peterson, 100%. Nobody ever looked better than the Cowboy hat. Better than Urban Cowboy and Sissy riding the bull on a cowboy hat. Her on the lawnmower. Danny, I would have given the nod to Ali Sheedy, but short circuit, blaming other movies on rankings. The 80s were tough. It was highly competitive. Highly competitive. Stacy jumping in on the United Supermarkets chat line tonight. 2 teams, a district in the playoffs is good. What the NFL, what the UIL is doing today is a travesty. I'm good with 2 teams. Yeah, I'm good with 2 teams. 3. I know we got a lot of 10-team, 19 districts and stuff. When I was at Coronado in the early 80s, mid 80s, we had a 9-team district. We played one game, and then there you go. Hyatt could do the gorilla dance from Can't Buy Me Love. No, that was more my brother. That was my little brother's groove. That was my little brother's movie. And he was kind of almost the age, and he was a little bit older than the younger brother there in that. So that was more his groove than mine. That was more like McDreamy. Ask any of the girls at Coronado in the late 80s, early mid 80s. 0-10 teams making the playoffs, ridiculous. 100% agree. All right, so, it's Thursday night. We got tomorrow. We got the most Texan thing you've done. Good conversation tonight. I want you guys to share this, invite people in, tell them to watch it and everything. Many times, you guys have asked, hey, what's in the mug there? What are we drinking? And a lot of times I use the Ron White answer of, hey, when they pay me money, I'll tell you what's in there. And it's not the same thing all the time. It varies. Thank you for being out there. I don't know if it was a great show, but it was a fun show. But it varies and everything else. But tonight, I thought I would I'll let you know what's in the mug. And as we celebrate, the 71 years of the real American, there you go. Here's to you, Hulkster. A little real American beer. You can get it at your local United Supermarkets at Market Street. That's what's in there tonight. And it's a good beer. $8.99 if you buy it cold. $9.99 for the 12-pack. Freaking Hulk Hogan, man. I'm afraid to see what Friday brings a little bit on that front. I want you guys to do a couple of things for us tonight. Hey, let your friends know we're having fun. We're doing cool stuff. We're doing it most every night. We'll be back here tomorrow on a Friday night for the most Texan thing you've done. We'll clean up all of the news, notes, and issues of the week, including Danny's opinion on Big 12 athletes of the year. Nigeri Kennedy, female. I don't even know who got the male athlete of the year. I pretty much don't care about those things. So my hot take, my hot sports opinion on that would be, I'm glad Kennedy won. Don't really care about him one way or the other. But we want you guys to share this, spread the message that we're out here every day. When you go online, I know a lot of y'all are on Facebook, Twitter, and stuff like that. Facebook particularly, it's really easy. Go to our sponsor of the day, like The Reserve, and hit their page and say, hey, thanks for being a part of Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland. Tag them. Hey, Sideline Provisions, thanks for being a part of Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland. United Supermarkets, hey, thanks for being a part of Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland. You don't have to go spend like $5,000 with them, but give them, a little love and let them know. And I'm not just saying it for this show, but anything you value media-wise, please support the people that make it happen, because without them, we got nothing. We're not doing this, digging ditches. So it's real easy to do. You just go over to their page and say, hey, thanks. Appreciate you supporting Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland. You tag it, and it'll come up on our deal probably, and depending if you're following us or not or whatever. But it's not hard to do. But I would say that for any media that you enjoy, go do that for them, all right? You don't have to come to my page and do it. You just did. But go to the advertisers, go to the sponsors, and tell your friends, hey, let's help these guys out. When they get feedback these days on any advertising dollar spent, that right there is gold, in as much as just seeing the registering, because it's so hard to quantify, it's so hard to measure. And so many advertisers are just afraid, and they don't know, well, if we spend money here or do this, that, there, how do we know we're getting any return on our investment? What's our ROI? Well, go tell them, man. Go tell them they got an ROI. Thanks to Raiderland. And the ones you love. Again, not just me. Anything you enjoy. Do that for your people, all right? All right, we're going to get this posted. We also have our West Texas shot of the day, our pick of the day from West Texas. I asked you guys earlier this week, would you like me to post a little bit of West Texas every day? Well, okay. I think we're going to be able to do that. Now, every pick we post might not be from today. It might be archived or whatever, but I'll give you a little dose of West Texas for those of you out there who don't get enough West Texas where you live. Thanks for being out there. See you tonight on Twitter at Ryan Hyatt Media, on the Facebook page, Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland, YouTube channel. Subscribe. Don't cost nothing. And in the morning, the most Texan thing you've done this week at theraiderland.com.